Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Welcome to our English seminar for today, which is specified for teachers training. Well, let me first introduce my colleagues in the studio. Miss Umayma Sharba, an English supervisor from Tartus. Good afternoon, Miss Umayma.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Abdul Majid Overly, an English supervisor from Damascus countryside. Good afternoon, Mr. Abdul.
Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to see you again.
Well, I'd like to greet you. My dear colleagues, of course, are going to participate with me in this seminar. As you know, dear colleagues, today we are going to talk about some applied lessons from grade 4. Well, before we begin our seminar for today, let me remind you that in our seminars we usually try to focus on, let's say, the main steps in each lesson the teacher has to follow. Of course, you can add, as an English teacher, as we said before, your own touch to your lesson, your own materials. You can add more strategies, more methods when you find that they are useful to your students. Of course, this depends on the level of the students themselves. Am I right, dear colleagues?
Yes, you are right.
Well, as we said, we have chosen, dear colleagues, Unit 13, Miss Umayma.
Yes.
Of course, as we know, Unit 13 consists of 3 lessons. Let's start with Lesson 1. Miss Umayma, let's talk about Lesson 1. What are the aims of Lesson 1? What are the structures in Lesson 1? What are the functions mentioned in Lesson 1? The materials the teacher has to use, the resources of this lesson, everything about it. Would you please give us an idea about this lesson?
Thank you, Mr. Bassel. Speaking about Lesson 1, we start with the aims. The aims of the lesson is to ask questions. The first aim, to ask questions in the past simple tense.
Yes.
Not any questions. For example, what time did you get up? What did you do in the evening? This is to ask questions in the past. Another aim is to tell the time. Okay, for example, I got up at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Or I usually went to bed at 9:30. These are examples about the aim. Now, these are the aims, to ask and to tell the time.
Good.
Now, about the structure in the Lesson 1 in grade 13, structures questions in the past simple tenses. For example, where did you live? What time did you get up? We have also the functions for Lesson 1, talking about the past, telling the time.
Good.
Then we have the topic is past times and vocabularies. Quarter to, we have past, have passed, get up, the verbs sell, sold, go to bed, farm, did, and made.
Good.
Then we have the resources. We have the pupil's book on page 39, exercise 1. We have listen and read. Cassette, unit 13, exercise 1, listen and read. Activity book, page 39, exercise 1, read and match. Activity book, page 39, exercise 2, read and write.
Good.
So these are all about the Lesson 1 for the aims, function, topic, resources. This is related before we start speaking about its steps.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Umayma. I think from the topic itself, we understand that the teacher here in this lesson, Mr. Abdul Majid, has to teach his students the past, or to talk about the past in general.
Yes.
How to use the past simple, and what words can be used with the simple past.
Yes.
Let's say as indicators. We call them sometimes indicators. When we talk about telling the time, you have mentioned some new vocabulary, of course,
In the lesson.
such as a quarter to, or a quarter past, etc. And some new
Have
verbs.
passed, yes, and some other
yes,
new verbs
yes.
in the present and in the past.
Good.
Yes, speaking about the past, and we say ask and tell the time. Ask questions relating to the past and telling the time according to the words
So we
I
can
or the
say
vocabularies.
asking and giving information.
And giving
about
information,
the past.
yes.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Majid, when we start, of course, as usual, the first step in each lesson is the warm-up.
Yes.
So, how can the teacher warm up his students related to the topic of this lesson, please?
Yes. Thank you very much. So as my colleague, Ms. Umaima said, we have in this lesson two main objectives. First objective is students at the end of the lesson will be able to ask questions in the simple past tense.
Good.
The second objective is to tell the time. Students will be able to tell the time at the end of the book. Now, I'm going as a teacher after Ms. Umaima said, while the teacher was planning, he is going to plan about the resources. She mentioned everything, Ms. Umaima. Now, warming up, since we're going to teach the past tense, the teacher can write or can start the warming up asking questions in the simple past tense. Like, what did you do yesterday? So, question to the whole class. What did you do yesterday? Where did you go? What did you study? And what did you eat?
Yes.
So we can start the lesson by asking these warming up questions to the students to show them that we are asking about something happened before now,
So,
which is yesterday.
you'd like to say, Mr. Majid, as I understand from you, that the teacher here can depend on, let's say, some short dialogues with his students.
Yes.
He can ask some questions about, of course, past events, whether they did these actions or not, such as what did you do yesterday? It's a general question. He can ask this question to any student in the classroom. Where did you go? If someone, for example, told him, well, I went shopping yesterday. Okay, where did you go? Where is this mall, for example, or shopping center? What did you study? If someone told him that I studied
Yes.
yesterday,
Yeah, this is follow-up
etc.
questions.
So it depends on the answer of the student. He can add another question and so on. Why is this?
Just to lead in the activity. So that now students, the pupils, sorry to say, they have taken the past tense already in the previous units. Now we're going to teach them how to ask questions. So the teacher can start with asking questions in the past to prepare them to get the lesson. As we said, we can start asking questions in the past, then we go to the presentation.
Good.
Now, in the presentation, the teacher can write some questions in the simple past on the board. For example, where did you live when you were young? Actually, this question is a general question, not for the pupils for grade 4,
Yes,
because they
yes.
are still young.
Yes.
Although some pupils in grade 4 think that they are adults, so it's okay. What did you do at the weekend?
It's suitable.
Now, we will see now, for who are following us, that we are going to use these questions in the lesson to ask the grandparents.
Yes.
So this is not for the pupils in grade 4. No, we are going to start the lesson by writing these questions on the board, and later we will see
In
that
order to
the
introduce the
pupils,
dialogue of the
yes,
lesson,
the
really.
dialogue between two pupils who are going to ask their grandparents these questions. What did you do when you were young?
Good.
And what did you do at the weekend? And what did you do in the evening? So after writing these questions on
So
the
you
board,
mean, Mr. Majid, sorry for interruption, the teacher here in his lesson planning should know everything about, let's say, the contents of the
Yes,
lesson
yes,
and the
yes.
dialogue itself. So as I understand, in the dialogue itself, in lesson 1, there are these like these questions.
Yes,
So there are some questions like this, right?
course, of
So
course.
here he has to introduce or to present, let's say, some examples or similar examples, like the, let's say, the questions in the dialogue. This is what
yes,
you mean.
Yes. Of course, every teacher, before he plans, he needs to read the whole lesson to elicit the objectives he is going to teach. And then, of course, every teacher must know every precise unit or minute in the book,
I
in
agree
the
with
lesson.
you.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, after he writes the questions in the simple past tense, he can read the question and ask individual pupils to reread the questions so that they learn how to ask these questions, which we are going to use later in the lesson.
Good.
So we read them aloud as teachers, then we ask different pupils to repeat. Then we can say that we have two pupils who are going to ask these questions to their grandparents. They are going to ask these three questions to their grandparents, and the grandparents are going to answer these questions. We ask the pupils to suggest other questions
Yes.
if they can. If they can't, we give them the prompts. We prepare. As you said, we can do follow-up questions. We can ask the pupils questions, show them the way we are using the past simple in questions, and then we make two pupils to imagine that they are going to ask these questions to their grandparents. And it's a good idea to let other pupils to be the grandparents to answer
course.
these questions.
Yes.
One student asks, another student
Answers.
answers. This is in front of the whole class. And after that, we can put the pupils into pairs and we make them ask the same questions and answer the same answers together as a class. And the teacher here goes around the class giving help when needed. We can use flashcards about winter and summer, and we can say, what did you do in the winter? What did you in the
What did you do
summer? In the summer, so that we vary our questions, since the aim now is to teach them to ask questions
About the
in the
past.
simple past tense, about
Yes.
the past, yes.
Yes.
Then, and until now, books are closed.
Good.
Okay? Now, the teacher asks the pupils to open their books at page 39. Then here we play the cassette to let the students listen to the native speakers reading the dialogue. Then we ask the pupils to follow the cassette in their books so that they match between what they hear and what is written so that they know what they are listening to. We tell them that we want them to find grandmother's answers to the three questions on the board, and we play the cassette twice.
In order to find the answers.
Yes. So the first time we play the cassette all through without pausing. The next time we pause so that we help them understand the pronunciation and the dialogue. And we pause to show them grandmother's answers. And we elicit the answers from the pupils themselves. We can ask the pupils to practice the dialogue. First, two pupils to come in front of the class to practice the dialogue, or three pupils according to the characters in the book. After that, we divide the pupils into groups according to the number of the people in the cassette. Now, I'm giving tips in general. For this conversation, we have two people with a grandmother asking and answering. So they can work in groups to practice the conversation. And the teacher's role is the director of the film. He goes around the classroom giving help when needed.
Okay, I have a question here, Mr.
Yes.
Majid. Some teachers ask their students to memorize, let's say, the dialogue. Is it a good strategy? What is the benefit of memorization? Does memorization, let's say, have a benefit to the students?
Thank you very much
by the
for
way?
saying this. Now, this has two sides. It can help at the beginning to order the way of asking questions, but the teacher needs to make sure that the second stage is to change, to make the conversation about the pupils themselves. If the pupils can change the conversation about themselves, it is a good idea to memorize, because in the end, the language is a matter of memorizing, because all the people even those who don't know the grammar of their own native language, they know how to use it because they learned it while listening to it by heart. They don't know the grammar. But if they make their students just memorize dialogues without applying it to real life, it will not be helpful
Nonsense.
in their life. Yes.
But maybe some teachers follow this strategy, Miss Umayma, to encourage maybe the shy students.
Yeah,
Some
it's a good
students
idea.
are shy and they don't like to participate in the lesson, so they encourage them. When they ask them to memorize, they feel themselves that, okay, I speak English. He
Yeah,
will
it's
be
a good idea.
encouraged after a time. Then we can ask them to apply. I mean, the first step is to memorize. It's okay, it's not so bad, but it's better, of course, to apply. I agree with you. But it's okay
Yes.
if I feel as a teacher sometimes that some of the students are shy and they don't like to participate, I can encourage them.
Now,
By this
during this, while we are asking the pupils to listen and asking them to practice the conversation, meanwhile, we can point at the pictures to explain the meaning on a form, the meaning of the new words we're going to teach, since Ms. Umayma said that we have new vocabulary. So so we do it together. We don't just start the lesson by explaining the meaning of the new vocabulary. No, we let the lesson go smoothly, and we point at the pictures in the book to let them know the meaning of on the form and other new
Okay, thank you very
words.
much. So let's go back. So the teacher here asked his students to open their books at page 39, then asked them to listen to the dialogue and follow in their books.
Yes.
I mean, here we have reading
And
and
listening.
listening at the
Reading
same
and
time.
listening. Yes.
They listen to the cassette and they read what is written in front of them.
Yes.
Good. After that, tell them they want to find grandma's answers, as you
Yes,
said,
yes.
and you can play the cassette more than twice, sometimes more than once,
Yes,
in order
according
to
to the
make
level
the
of your
students
students.
find the
You may
answers.
need to play it five
Yes,
times.
yes, why not?
Until you make sure that all the students got the word correctly and they know what they listened to.
Good.
Because, of course, what is written does not match the native speaker's way in speaking.
Yes.
And our role as teachers to make these students get familiar with the pronunciation from native speakers. That's why we insist on making these
And
students
sometimes maybe to
listen.
correct his own pronunciation.
Yes, yeah, it's
Why
a
not?
good idea. Yes,
When
yes.
he listens to the native speaker.
Yeah, of
Good
course.
idea.
Yes, yes.
Actually, since the teacher is more developed than these pupils, when he finds that the pupils may have some difficulties at some places in the listening, he can pause, repeat the word aloud himself to show them that this is going to be pronounced like this, especially the word quarter. If we see as just reading, it is a Q-U-A. And since A is pronounced A most of the time, the pupil may think that it is a quarter.
Good.
But the native speaker is going to say it quarter. So here the teacher can tell the pupil that notice that here it's not quarter, it's quarter. And pay attention how they are going to pronounce it so that they match between the word and
Yes,
the
that's
pronunciation.
right.
Yes, I'd like to add, not only paying attention to the pronunciation of certain words, but have them repeat more
yes.
and more
Yes.
in groups, individually.
master
ask
the words or the
master
new
the
words.
word, to
Yes,
repeat.
yes.
Not only listening to the cassette, but also repeating the sentences, the words and the sentences, the questions and the answers, repeating all the time,
Thank you.
and encourage. The teacher
I think
should
we
encourage.
mentioned this before,
Yes.
Ms. Umayma, when the teacher uses, let's say, the chorus repetition.
Yes.
It's very important, especially for young learners, to follow this strategy, chorus
The chorus.
repetition.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a good idea at the beginning for chorus repetition. But in the end, you cannot distinguish who is saying it correctly or
course,
not.
of course.
So the second stage
Yes.
is to ask individuals
Individuals.
to repeat so that you correct them.
Yes.
And repeating is a very good idea, especially for lower levels,
Yes.
because you need to make sure you are preparing your project. these pupils are our project as teachers.
Yes.
If you build it correctly, they go on
Everything
smoothly.
will go.
And what they learn
Well.
at this level will be fossilized in their brains. They're not going to change it in the
Yes,
future
yes,
easily.
yes.
And this happens with adults or even teachers. Teachers who used to say the word in a way their teachers taught them, when they discover now while listening, as Mr. Basil mentioned just now, that they can correct themselves, it's very tough to change after you learn it for some years.
Yes.
So when you teach them correctly, and now teachers may say we don't have the audio. No, it's available. It's available with the supervisors, with the teachers.
At schools, it's available.
At schools, not only that, on the net, a lot of teachers
Yes.
who have the audio upload it on their accounts and on groups of English teaching. And I thank all
Yes.
these teachers who work as helping with us.
Yes.
And so the teacher who wants to find the audio can find it in any way. So in the end, we need to make our students to listen to the audio.
I agree with you. Then, Mr. Majid,
We have further comprehension questions. After they practice, we
Yes.
can now give them more questions in the simple past tense. For example, what did she do at the weekend? About grandmother, pupils are going to answer. When they can't answer, the teacher gives them a prompt. He can give the answer, ask them to repeat until they master the answer. Where did she go on Saturdays? What did she sell in the market? What time did she go to bed? Then the teacher encourages the pupils to answer in full sentence. So when you say, where did she go? We ask the pupils
school,
not say
for
to
example.
school. She
she
went
to
to school to give
because
full
we need
answer.
to we
Give them
need
the
to
structure.
make the students use the past simple
Yes, the structure.
to mention the verbs.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, let us first, before we ask Miss Umayma to comment on this, let us please listen to the dialogue of lesson one, okay? And after listening to the dialogue, we can continue.
Yes.
Mister, can we do it as we are telling twice, once all the
It's
way
okay.
through?
I'll
And,
try.
yeah.
Thank you.
It is page 39.
Sorry for
The
this.
lesson is page 39, unit
Yes.
13. Listen and read.
Side 2.
Okay.
Unit 13. Exercise 1. Listen and read.
Where did you live when you were young, Grandma?
I lived on a farm in the country.
What time did you get up?
I got up at 5 o'clock.
What did you do at the weekend?
I helped my mother. I did my homework. I made bread. On Saturday, we went to the market.
What did you sell in the market?
We sold eggs and vegetables.
What did you do in the evening?
We had dinner. I read a book. I usually went to bed at 9:30.
Again, if you
repeat
like.
again, but please
Okay.
give pauses,
It's okay.
especially at the word vegetables
Yes.
and at the word usually.
Okay. Okay, now it's ready.
Side 2. Unit 13. Exercise 1. Listen and read.
Where did you live when you were young, Grandma?
I lived on a farm in the country.
What time did you get up?
I got up at 5 o'clock.
What did you do at the weekend?
I helped my mother. I I did my homework. I made bread. On Saturday, we went to the market.
What did you sell in the market?
We sold eggs and vegetables.
Thank
What did you do in the evening?
We had dinner. I read a book. I usually went to bed at 9:30.
you. It's all.
Okay, Mr. Majid.
Side 2.
Thank you. Now, here the teacher's role is to show while pausing at the new words which were said in another way than it is written. The words were helped.
Yes.
Helped, he didn't say helped, and we have ed. So the teacher tells the pupils that it's helped, not helped. And the word vegetable, not vegetable, it is written vegetable, but we say it vegetable. So he
Yes.
tells them that we need to say it this way. And the word usually, it is written usually. And a lot of people say usually but the native speakers
I agree
say
with you,
usually.
Mr. Majid. They are in grade 4, so maybe this is the first time or the second time they see these words, let's say that. Or they are in grade 4, let's say that they have practiced these words before. But
Yeah, but I mean, when they meet them the first time.
I know.
Now, this is what we have now as
this is the correct way to pronounce
in general,
the words.
yeah, we show them that this is the way a native speaker is going to say the word so that they imitate.
And he has to train them
Yeah.
to imitate the sounds.
Yes.
I agree with
Yes.
you. Because when he makes sure that all the pupils pronounce the words correctly, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is what we want.
So
if
not
some
only-
of the students do not pronounce the words correctly, what can the teacher here
He can
do?
repeat himself the word and ask the pupil to repeat after him until the pupil reach the level that he can pronounce the word
Exactly.
correctly.
And he can make a pause. He
Yeah.
can stop, the cassette, and ask the students, okay, listen again, please. Listen to the speaker and make sure how the word is pronounced.
Yeah, this is why we said sometimes we may play the audio 5 times until all the pupils
This is the benefit.
Yeah, because not only we're going to teach the past simple questions, but also the
Correct
language,
pronunciation, the language.
the language itself.
Yes.
To pronounce it correctly so that the pupil can use the language later, not only know how to ask or answer, how to master the language and how to use it.
I agree with you. Okay, is it enough? I
Yes.
think it's
Yeah,
enough.
good. It's good.
Thank you very much.
enough.
Miss Umayma, please, what about the follow-up?
Yes.
The next stage.
The
Now we have listened more than once, Mr. Majid, to the dialogue. And we maybe ask the students maybe to practice the dialogue. What can you tell
Yeah,
us, please?
before Ms.
Thank
Umayma says, I just want to give a hint. The followers now may say they are repeating the same thing many times. No. First, we explain everything in general, then we stop step by step. That's right. Now she's going to talk again about acting the dialogue, preparing. Please,
Exactly.
Ms. Umayma.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mr.
Mr.
Majid.
Majid.
Thank you, Mr. Basil. As you said, as you spoke about the follow-up, that acting, in order to make the lesson more enjoyable, more interesting, after
Yes.
listening to the cassette, the pupils need to do something else. Let's act. When the teacher acts, the role of the grandmother in this lesson itself, so asking the pupils, different pupils, to ask different pupils to ask the teacher. The teacher is the grandmother now,
Yes.
and is acting the role of the grandmother, and different pupils are going to ask questions.
And he can dispute the roles. He can ask the students themselves
Yes.
who likes to act as grandma,
Yes.
who is going to act as, let's say, the grandchild, etc.
This
That's
is the
it.
beginning. Later he changes roles between
Yes.
the pupil
Between
themselves.
them, yes, have them. So act out the the first step, and then take part of grandmother, and ask pupils to ask questions. Now, after that, choose new reader for each question. So repeat the same question sometimes. Have them repeat the questions. Give them the roles to ask questions.
Good.
And have different or other pupils to repeat the same question in order to have them use and speak and ask these questions. To the teacher should know that everybody, all the pupils are able to ask this question and act the role.
Very nice.
After doing this with all the pupils in the classroom, the teacher has to do the exercise.
I think now we can say that we can talk about periodical evaluation. Because
Yes.
exercise 1, when the students do the exercise, the teacher himself makes sure whether the students, let's say, have mastered the new skills or not.
That's
Okay, what about exercise 1, please?
Well, in the activity book, exercise 1, pupil must choose the correct answer. If everybody has the book itself open
Yes.
to exercise 1, pupil must choose the correct answer to each question. So we have different questions, and the pupil should choose the correct answer and read the questions.
Of course, Ms. Umimi, at the beginning we need to tell the pupils that they need to open their activity
Some
book, give them
instructions,
the
of course, of
page
course.
number.
Yes.
After that, we can give them 1 or 2 minutes to have a look at the
Instructions
exercise.
are very necessary, as
Yeah.
we said before,
Yes.
Mr. Majid. And I think this is related to classroom management. How to do activities with your pupils
Yes.
Yes.
in the classroom. How to manage the activities. And the first step, as you said,
Yes.
the instructions.
That's
I have
right.
to tell them the instructions. My instructions should be very clear. I have to make sure that each pupil in the classroom understands me and he knows very well what he is going to do.
Yes.
If I find, as a teacher,
Yes.
Ms. Umaima, sorry, that one of the students or some of them don't know how to do the exercise, okay, I can, as a teacher, help them and do, for example, one item of the exercise. Let's say, okay, I'll do number 1, I'll help you,
Yes.
and I show them how the exercise can be done.
Yes. So the teacher is the prompter, as we
course.
mentioned
Of course.
before.
Okay, Ms.
Yes.
Umaima, please.
Yes,
Shall we
thank
continue?
you. Yes, after doing and giving the instructions,
Yes.
and the students or pupils are following their teacher, while the teacher is the opening on page, for example, in the activity book, pointing to exercise number 1 and asking them to follow. The teacher reads. Then he reads, they follow. He reads. We have in this exercise, in exercise 1, we have a question that the teacher should start reading.
Yes.
Read the questions yourself as teacher. Then ask different pupil to read out the answers.
Good.
Different pupil. And I'd like to advise them to make them repeat. I always insist on the idea of repeating, that the pupils should repeat. When I have weak pupils, have them repeat what your friend or what your friend had just said. Please repeat. Please repeat the question. Please repeat the answer. Then have them continue doing the exercise.
Very nice.
Pupils draw in the linking lines while they are working, and circle and put the questions to pupils individually.
Good.
So we ask them to match between the questions and answers.
Yes.
Then we ask them one to read the question and another one to read the answer.
What is
Yes.
the rubric of exercise 1, Mr. Majid? Can we read it? The rubric of
What time
exercise.
did grandma get up? This is number 1.
This is number 1. So there are more than maybe one answer, right? They have to choose.
Every question has one answer, and the answer is very clear. So when we say get
We
up,
have 2 columns, you mean?
and this and at this level, it's a good idea to write the verbs in the present and past, so that these peoples know that there is difference between the present and past. And it's a good idea here to tell them that when we use did is a helping verb, we use the simple form of the verb.
You mean
Now, we
to
are
make
not
the students
indulging them.
distinguish between
just
the
between
two
the
cases?
simple form of the verb verb 1 and verb 2, since they are going to use did. So if we don't tell them that we use the simple form with did at this level, they may say did got.
It's okay, Mr. Majid. I agree with you if the purpose of the exercise is, let's say, grammar. But if exercise 1, let's say, the purpose of this exercise is, let's say, to give information about some questions, here, let's say, the case is different, I think.
I'm
In
with you.
exercise
I'm
1,
with you.
here,
I'm
step
with you.
number 1,
But,
he has to find the correct information. But I agree with you. Maybe in the next stage, the teacher himself can design more activities or more exercises in which he can make his students to choose between the two tenses to make sure that they know everything about the present and they know everything about the past.
Yeah.
Okay, why not?
Now, second question is, what time did grandma have breakfast?
Good. So, Miss Umayma, please, can we continue the exercise after the pupils draw in the linking lines? What about exercise 2 now?
Well-
Mr. Majid maybe has read maybe 1 or 2 items, right,
Yes.
from exercise 1. The idea of exercise 1, I think, is
It's
very
clear now.
clear. We have 2 columns. The first column contains some questions about the dialogue itself,
yes.
and the second column
It's very
contains
clear.
answers.
Did she
So,
have breakfast?
it's
We
very
have letter
easy.
A. She had breakfast.
Exactly.
So we have the same
Yes.
words in the
Yes,
question
yes.
and the answer. Pupils can find the questions and
I
answers.
think this exercise is a kind of practice of questions and answers at the same time.
Yes.
Maybe to train the students at the first step, Ms. Umayma, to know how to ask and how to give the suitable information to this question. What about exercise 2?
Thank you. For exercise 2, it's about read and write.
Yes.
Exercise 2 in the activity book is read and write. Now, pupil complete Dima's description of what she did today, Saturday, using the verbs in the box. So we have some verbs in a box. They read it, they acquire the meaning of them, then they are going to write using the correct tense without knowing that they are doing grammar because they know how to correct and put in.
Can I stop here
Yes,
for 1
please.
minute to ask Mr. Majid about exercise 2? What about the rubric of exercise 2, Ms. Umayma? Can we read the rubric itself?
Okay. It's Saturday today. We have the first missing word, space. I, something, it's done in the book, got up. This morning at 8 o'clock, I helped my mom and I spaced my bed. Now, we are going to ask the pupils to have a look at the words in the box. We have in the box got up,
to
it is
choose the
done.
suitable
Yes.
word.
We have the word had. We have the word made. We have did,
To fill in the
went,
spaces, yes.
read. And my bed, we know already, students know that we make our beds.
Okay. Now, how can we do, Ms. Umayma? Now we have everything about the rubric and the exercise. Let's continue, Ms. Umayma.
Yes.
The first
Have
step
them-
is that as a teacher, I tell,
Yes.
let's say, that the students, as you said, or the pupils, that this is the description of Dima, right? About what she did
Yes.
today.
Yes, and have them work individually or in pairs in order to complete
Of course,
and to
this is,
put the
can be
correct
done
verb.
individually or in pairs.
Actually,
Or
the
in
teacher
pairs.
can ask here in this space, for example, the word is my bed. What do you usually do when we wake up? We make our beds. So what's the word? So he can give them prompts.
Yes.
So the
To help
word
them.
made is the past of make. So it is
Yes.
made my bed.
Which
Same thing.
strategy, Mr. Majid, is better? I think. To do the exercise individually or to do it in pairs. Which one do you prefer?
We are going to work in all ways. We can give time, we can divide the pupils into groups of 5 and ask them to give them, allow them, for example, 2 minutes to work together and find out the answers. It's one of the ways. Give prompts another way. To work individually is another way. So we need to vary our strategy.
I know.
So that
I'm talking about this exercise. Maybe the decision is the teacher's decision himself.
In the end, he
if
is.
he finds that it's okay, there are some students or pupils in my classroom, let's say we call them weak students, Aideen, and they need some help from their
Pair work
colleagues.
here works.
So I think pair work here is a good strategy.
Yes.
But when I feel that most of the pupils, let's say, we call them strong pupils, right?
Yes.
Okay, I can ask them to work individually in this case. Why not? So it depends on the level of the students. The teacher only is, as we said, the only person who decides which strategy, which way is better to be followed. I think you agree with me.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Let's continue.
So
Miss Umayya.
then bring the class together. After doing the exercise in pairs or individually, the teacher brings the class together to correct the exercise. If there is a mistake, they correct it. If there is no mistake, so they will read everything. Then ask different pupils to read each sentence. And ask 2 or 3 pupils to give the teacher as many answers before finally confirming what is correct.
This
So-
is brainstorming.
Yes,
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 You
brainstorm.
can use brainstorming
Thank you.
even with little pupils.
So we can prompt, then we can expect some answers.
Yes.
I can use or follow the brainstorming strategy.
In the end, we're going to elicit the correct answers from the pupils themselves, not to give them ready-made answers.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Umayma.
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Majid. I think, dear colleagues, it's time for a break. Before we have a break, let me remind you that you can contact us by using the phone numbers shown on the screen. We are ready to answer your questions. We will be so glad to participate with us in this seminar as English teachers and why not as English supervisors. Thank you. Let's have a break and then we can go back. Welcome back, dear colleagues. Hello again in our seminar for today, in which we are talking about some applied lessons from grade 4. Well, we have covered everything about lesson 1, Mr. Majid. Before the break, we talked, let me use the past simple here. We talked about lesson 1, everything, the aims, the materials, the functions, the structures, and some strategies that can be followed as teachers to do exercises in lesson 1.
Yeah.
Now, we have finished everything about lesson 1. Let's talk about lesson 2. In lesson 2, I think it's a kind of revision, maybe.
Yes.
What about the aims of lesson 2, Mr. Majid, the topic itself, the structures, the functions, the resources, everything about lesson 2,
Okay.
please.
Well, the aims in lesson 2 are students are going to be able to practice making questions in the past simple tense. For example, what time did Samir get up? Second aim is students will be able to practice giving the time. The presentation we're going to explain later. The structures then, questions in the past simple tense, where did you live? What time did you get up? The functions, telling the time, asking and answering questions. The topic is past times.
Very nice. So here we have something new, Mr. Majid.
Yes.
The first, let's say, topic or skill
Is to revise.
is to revise the past simple and to
the second
describe
topic, yeah.
activities in the past. But the new thing here is to tell the time.
To tell the time.
Very
Yes.
nice.
We
Okay.
have the visual aids or the resources. The pupil's book is the first and main resource. Page 40. We have study books, page 40. And we have pupil book, page 40, exercise 2, listen and match. We're going to make them listen to an audio and to match. Pupil's book, page 40, exercise 3, ask and answer. We have also the cassette, the audio, which is very important, unit 13, exercise 2, listen and match. And then we're going to evaluate using the activity book, page 40, exercise 3, look, read, and answer.
Good.
In the activity book, page 40, exercise 4, read and write. Again, this is in the resources. We have flashcards.
Flashcards.
In the flashcards, we can show them 5 o'clock, 3:30, 6:15, 11:45, and I want to say something to the teachers. It's okay to say a quarter or without a. You can say quarter without a,
Yes,
a
of
quarter.
course.
Both
Yes,
are
yes,
accepted.
Yes.
11:45. 15 word cards made from large sheets of display paper or card. We are going to use these flashcards. First, we can write what, then did, then you, then do yesterday. We can scramble them and we ask the students to unscramble, to correctly order
Reorder.
them,
Yes.
kind of game, and to make sure that they know how to ask
Rearrange
questions.
the words. Yes.
Then, to make them be able to ask about the time, we're going to teach them the question word with time, what time. Again, what time did you get up this morning? Where did you go at the weekend? We're going to divide these words and write them on flashcards, and then we're going to start kind of game and make the students unscramble the scrambled cards to make questions. We're going to play the cassette again in this level from lesson 1, listen and read. As we always say, we play the cassette all the way through first, then we play it again, pausing, to show them how the words are pronounced, to make sure that they understand everything. And we pause the recorder at this level only after Omar and Layla's questions, to show them that this is a question. Then we ask different pupils to repeat the questions. So we pause, we ask different questions to repeat the questions after Omar and Layla.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think it's very clear from the study books here, the structures. Then we have the exercise 2, listen and match. This is what you mean, Mr. Majid?
Yes.
Exercise 3, ask and answer. Okay. Do we have a call?
Now, before we move, we have a call.
Do we have a
sorry.
call? Okay, no. Let's
Well,
continue,
well,
Mr. Majid.
Before we got indulged in this exercise, it's
Yes.
a good idea for the teacher to bring with him a clock or a toy clock with hands, and he's going to draw on the board a clock with hands to teach them the position of quarter. We have quarter to the left, and we have quarter past to the right, and down we have half past always.
Okay.
So at this level,
Before we go on, sorry, Mr. Majid, I think we have a call from Hind from Damascus. Hello, Hind. Good afternoon.
Hello, I am Hind.
Good
I
afternoon.
am an English teacher in Qazana town.
Oh,
Welcome, Miss Hind.
Welcome, Miss Hind.
Yes, I was watching you, but now there is an electrical cut.
It's okay.
yeah, okay.
But anyway, I have an idea about this lesson.
Okay.
Yes, I have a comment and a question.
Why not?
Yes.
With pleasure.
Usually, when I give such a lesson, I bring a clock to the class. I move the hands
Good.
onto the clock. I show the students how I moving.
You
how I
mean
move the
a toy
hands.
clock?
Yes, the hands of the clock. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I tell them, for example, it is 3:30.
Good.
I write 3:30 on the board.
Very nice.
And I continue in this way until I think that the students have understood the idea. Afterwards, I connect this idea with past activities by asking questions. For example, what did you do at 6 o'clock yesterday evening?
Good.
But the question is, what is the simplest way to teach the students or the pupils the simple past tense without concentrating on the grammar itself?
Good. Good. I think we have answered, let's say, half of the question
Yes.
in our seminar before the break. But now,
Thank you, Ms.
I
Hind,
think
for
Mr.
the
Majid will
participation.
answer you. But let me first ask you just one question before Mr. Majid answers you. Can I?
Yes, please. please.
Now, let's say that you are a teacher and you don't have a toy clock with you. What can you do in this case? You don't
draw
have
on
the
board
material.
A clock.
I
I draw on the board
Very
a
good.
clock.
Very good.
Very good. Okay, if you don't know how to draw,
That's very easy.
you can
It's only a circle
you
and
can
two
bring some
hands.
pictures. Why not? Okay, it's so easy. A circle on the board. Thank you very much. I'm joking. I'm sure that you can draw
Thank you.
very
Thank
well.
you, Ms. Hind.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Majid will answer you about the simple past, Ms. Hind.
Well, again, here we, as Ms. Hind said, we're not teaching grammar. We're just making them
Sorry,
learn.
are you still with us, Ms. Hind?
I am with you, but
Okay.
the voice is very low.
It's okay. We will try to make it better. Mr.
Yeah,
Majid
okay.
is speaking
I will try
now.
to shout.
Please,
Okay.
Mr. Majid.
Now, at this level, we're not teaching grammar. We're just teaching them how to use the simple past. So we are going to write on the board and to use as many questions as we can in the simple past tense so that the students know that this is the form without telling them that it is the form of the simple past tense.
We don't mention grammar at
Yeah,
all.
of course. We don't mention, and we will see now after some minutes that after we write the questions, we can tell them that we can construe here that not the opposite. We don't give them the form of the grammar. We just write the questions and we tell them that this part is the question word.
Good.
This is the auxiliary we use to ask, and this is the simple form, and this is the rest of the question. After we make sure that all the students now know how to ask you in the simple past tense. So we don't tell them that simple past tense is consisting of such and such. No, we write the questions, but we tell them that this is called question word, this is auxiliary verb.
Very nice. Can I add something, Ms. Hind? Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Majid. Before the break, we mentioned some questions how to ask about the past. Where did you? What did you? When did you? How did you? So we have question words with did you, did you, did you. So in this way, by training them, by practicing, by repeating, we, let's say, teach them how to ask about past events. That's it. We don't tell the students at the beginning, of course, that this is the simple past.
Yeah.
And here
of
the
course.
simple past is the second form of the verb, and so on. No,
Yeah.
we don't mention grammar at all, but we tell them that this is how we ask about the past.
Yes.
This is step number one. Then
Yeah.
we can use pictures, we can use different materials to make them understand our description. Of course, it will ease our description when we use more materials, more pictures with us in the classroom. As you said, the toy clock is very useful
idea.
to teach the students how to tell
Pictures.
the time.
Yeah.
If you don't have the toy clock, it's okay, you can draw. If you don't draw, you can bring more pictures, flashcards, etc.
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any other question, Miss Hind?
Only one question.
Okay. Why not?
After writing the examples that contain simple past tense on the board, can we write at the end of the board verb 1, verb 2, verb 3, and mention that in all of these examples we used verb 2?
Okay. Miss Umayma, can you answer her, please?
Yes, why not? We said that we write. Thank you, Ms. Hind, for participating. Why not? We said that the teacher write questions
At
on the
end,
board.
At the end.
Well, when he starts teaching them and asking them questions, why don't we write these words on the board, these verbs, and tell the pupils that today we use these verbs. Yesterday for the verbs without
Yeah,
mentioning the past.
It's no
Can you add
problem.
something?
Yeah, it's no problem. But we talked about this at the beginning. We need to make these pupils, after they acquire asking and answering in the simple past tense, to tell them that we have two forms now of the verb. Yeah, and to talk to them about the simple form, and that simple form goes with did always. We're not explaining grammar, we're just giving them hints about that we have forms. It's a good idea, Ms.
A
Hind.
good
Yeah, it's
answer
okay.
from both of you. A good question from Miss Hind, but I'd like to add something else. You as a teacher, Miss Hind, the only person who decides if it is necessary to say that we have two forms of this verb or not. I mean, it depends on the level of the students. If you feel that your students are motivated, their skills are very, very good,
Yeah.
you see, they understand everything, they can participate with you very well, they can speak the language very well, they can use or they have mastered the past simple very well. In this case, it's okay. Why not?
Why not?
It's a type or a kind of an introduction to grammar, in
yes.
later stages. You can introduce grammar at this stage. You can say, it's okay, look at this verb. It has two forms. This is the form, get up, for example. We use it when we talk about the present, and we use got up when we want to talk about the past. Why not?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your participation. I'd like to thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Miss Hind.
Thank you very much.
They greet you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Good luck. Well, Miss Umayma, let's continue, please. We
Yes.
were talking before the call
Yes.
about exercise, I think.
Yes, on
2
page
or
40.
3.
Yes, on we said that the
revision,
pupil look
the
at
revision.
yes, at the revision,
Yes.
the study books, and the students look at the study books on page 40, and the teacher asks different pairs to read
Yes.
out the questions and answers.
Good.
Then focus on the structure of the question. After this, demonstrate on the board how the question is in 4 parts. When the teacher writes the question on the board and write and demonstrate that this is a question word, plus we have did, then we have you, as you said, Mr.
So
Bassel.
this is an answer to Hind's
This is an
question.
answer
Yeah.
to Hind's question.
And
Yes.
actually here, while the pupils are reading the answer of Grandma, I lived in the country, we can refer to the previous page, first picture. When she said, I lived on a farm in the country, we can point at the picture to show them the mountains and the field, to tell us that this is the country, not the city, to make them distinguish between country and city and the meaning of country.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Then after this, point out the use of question mark to pupil as well. Sometimes the question word may be 2 words. How many, what time. Well, they know that they use the question word where, when, what. And we say that the question word may be 2 words, what time and how many, for example. The teacher may write the question words on board and say and tell his pupil that we have 2 words for the question. The teacher may choose many other ways to explain. He may choose different colors to write the question word in a color, for example, then use another color to write did and complete with it.
Yes.
Then point out that the verb is the infinitive, maybe by underlining the verb itself or writing it with a different color. We need that after did, when we use did, we use infinitive form, not the form, it's the past. When
You
we
mean,
speak
the
about the
base
past
form,
simple,
the
the
zero
best form,
form, yes,
okay, the
yes.
zero, that we have been learning since Unit 3. They know how to use the past since Unit 3, Unit 5 also. So the word did shows us that the question is about the past.
Of course.
But when we reply, we must use the past tense. So when we ask, we use the infinitive. We have did with the infinitive. The teacher repeats, he writes, he notes, he underlines. He chooses any way he finds it suitable to make them understand the idea itself by using the past tense and answering.
An example?
Example, what time did you get up? I got up at 6 o'clock.
Good. So we use what time, and here the question word
The
has
question
2
word
words.
has 2 words, and we have
Use did
did,
to ask about the past, and the
you,
infinitive
then
or
we
the
have the
zero form.
infinitive.
Get up.
Yes, they get up. Then the answer is in the past form.
Good.
Yes. The teacher, when repeating, doing the question and the answer, underlying the infinitive and the past, when infinitive in the question, the past form of the verb in the answer itself, then asking the students to repeat.
Thank you, Miss Umayma.
Thank
Before
you.
we go on,
Yes.
I think we have another call. I think Hanadi from Damascus. Good afternoon, Hanadi.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Good afternoon. Well, I'm sure that you are an English teacher, aren't you?
I can't hear you.
You are an English teacher.
Yes, I'm an English teacher from Damascus countryside.
Good.
Yes.
What or which stage do you teach, Miss Hanadi?
I want to participate and tell you how to teach pupils how to save time.
Yeah, good. Good.
How
Please, how to teach time?
to teach time? The same question.
Yeah, okay. Please,
Hind asked the
please,
same
yeah.
question. Okay, Mr. Majid will answer you.
Please,
Thank
miss.
you.
Please. No, she wants to tell us maybe.
Oh.
Do you want to
Do you
tell
want
us
to tell us?
something
I
or
want
to
to
us?
tell us.
Yeah,
you.
please.
Why not?
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Please.
I thought that you are asking
No,
us
she
about
wants to
how
give
to
us
tell.
I
her
want
way.
to tell you.
It's
Yes.
okay. Why not?
Okay.
With pleasure.
I draw a clock on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Then I tell my pupils many information about it. That there are 10 minutes, 60 minutes, in an hour. There are 5 minutes between each number. And there are 2 hands of the clock. They should know that the long hand is called the hour hand, and it shows the hour, while the long one shows the minute, and we call it the minute hand. Then they have to know that when the long hand is on number 12, it's o'clock, and when it is on number 3, it's quarter past, and when it is on 6, it's half past, and when it is on 9, it's quarter to.
Good.
Then I will give them example how to say the time. They should know that the sentence should begin with it is, then we have minutes, and then the hour. For example, if the minute hand is on number 3 and the hour hand is on number 4, the time here is it's quarter past 4.
Yes.
Then I give them more examples, and they have to work in pairs to give me the correct time.
Mm-hmm.
As an evaluation of their understanding of what I give them, I can dividing them into groups, and I can draw clocks on the board without hands, and each group has a representative.
Good.
Each one has to listen to
Give
me
them
carefully.
different times.
What?
Give them different times.
Yes.
Okay. And I ask them to draw.
I ask them to draw as they listen to me. They can draw the time that I tell them.
Very nice.
The fastest one, his group is the winner.
Good.
Good.
Good game.
A good game, really.
Yes.
Um,
Another one, we can have the clocks with their hands, and I will set time, and they have to match
Good.
the sentence with the clock.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
For
Very good.
for making questions about the time, if we don't tell our students the form of the question, we can, at the end of the lesson, we can put the sentences in random, and they have to make them in order.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Yeah.
Very
That's
nice.
my
This is what we
opinion.
were
Thank you, thank
saying.
you.
Yes.
A good participation. Would you like to add something else or to ask about something else, Ms. Hanadi?
No.
Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
participation.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Ms.
you,
Hanna.
Mr.
I
Mahdi.
appreciate your participation. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Good
a good
thing.
strategy.
Just what I agree
and I'd
with
like
everything.
to ask to thank Hanadi because she talked about
What we are going to-
evaluation.
yeah, yes,
Yes.
Evaluation.
yeah.
It's not enough to explain.
Of course. Without
You
evaluation,
have to
we
evaluate
cannot
at the
make
end
sure
of
that
each
they got the meaning.
description or each step.
Yes.
So it's a good strategy.
Yeah, I agree with everything she said. Just one thing. At this level, no need to talk about everything about clock. At this level, we are just going to teach quarter to, quarter past, and half past. So if she's going to give them more information about minutes and times,
No,
this
not
can come
everything.
later.
Not
It
everything.
depends.
I agree with her with one point. When the clock, of course, as we know, has 2 hands. The long one
Yes.
refers
For
to minutes,
the minutes,
and the short one refers to hours.
good.
So
good
it's a
explanation.
good thing to
Yes.
tell the pupils that this is the short one. It tells you the hours.
Actually,
And
both,
the long
both
one,
were good teachers.
Yes, so it's a good way. Why not? it's not bad to tell them that, but
Yes.
not to explain everything, because this is not the purpose of the lesson.
Yeah.
The purpose is, as you said, Mr. Majid, to tell the time and to use new structures and the new phrases like past two,
Actually,
quarter past.
all teachers get
yes.
tempted to teach everything when they have something.
Yes.
So we need to ask the teachers to have self-control, so to heed to what is the objective of the lesson,
Yes.
so that we don't distract these students, these pupils, or we don't need to give them overdose.
I'd like to thank you because you have talked about this. Some teachers, Mr. Majid, feel that they want to give everything to their students. So at one time, at one time, and I think this is not good. You have to follow.
This is
let's say,
confusing
of course,
to
it
the
will
pupils.
confuse your pupils if you give them a lot in one class. They will be confused. You have to follow
Steps.
the targets or the steps of the lesson. It's enough. In later stages, you can give them a new information. Why not? You can add to their experience. Why not?
Yes.
We don't, let's say, stop you from doing this. No, we are asking you to do this, but in steps.
Yes.
Not in one step
Yes, that's
or
right.
in one class.
Yes.
It's too much for them, especially they are young learners, grade 4. Okay, can we continue? Miss
Yeah.
Umayma, you were talking about revision. And what about
Yes.
the
We're going
follow-up
now
now?
to follow up.
Mr. Majid, I
Actually.
think. Yes.
I spoke about that we use cards and we write just parts of the question on these cards, and we said that there are 15 cards. Now, at this level, the teacher is going to stick these cards, every question, the cards of every question on the board, but in a jumbled way, not correctly. Then he is going to ask some pupils to come to the board to correct. And after they put the cards in the correct way, the teacher asks the class, is it correct or not, to help them find the correct answer and to make sure that they know how to put the question in the correct order.
Good.
So we ask the rest of the class if it is correct or not, and we do the same with the other questions. We ask some pupils to come to the board, reorder the
To put the
position of
words
the
in order,
cards
in the
so
correct
that they make correct questions. We ask the pupils if it's correct or not, and we ask them to read these questions.
Very nice.
Now we go to present the second objective, which is the time. We use flashcards again to present telling the time. Now, as I said when Ms. Hanadi phoned, that the objective of this lesson is to teach them that we have 3 positions of the clock at this level: quarter to, quarter past, and half past.
Good.
We revise, for example, it's 5 o'clock. As Miss Hind said, we have, or I don't remember if Hanadi or Hind said that we have 12 o'clock, which is, we say a clock here. So if it is 5 o'clock, we put the hands one on the other. Then we can change the hands of the toy clock if we have a toy clock. If it is the flashcards, we show them, we stick these flashcards on the board so that the pupils see them. Or we can simply draw 3 positions of the hands: quarter to, quarter past, and half. And we explain to them that the 15 minutes, when we divide the clock or the circle of the clock into 4 parts, every part is called quarter. So when the hand is to the left, it's quarter to the correct clock. If it's 5 o'clock, quarter to 5. If it is to the right, we say it's quarter past. And we tell them that past means after. They know after already. And we show them the 3 positions of the hands. We move to exercise 2. At this level, in exercise 2, we have listen and match. Pupils are going to listen to the audio. In the audio, we are going to listen to someone telling the time. and we have 5 pictures. Students are going to match the clock the speaker in the audio is talking about.
Good.
Is it A, B, or C, or D, or E? In A, it's 2:15. In B, it's 5 o'clock. In C, it's 11:15. In D, it's 8:15.
So he has to
and E.
choose here according to the audio.
Yeah. Here, we play the audio.
Yes.
We pause and we ask them, what clock? Give me the number of the clock the audio is talking about. The tape script is, number 1, the first speaker is going to say it's 5 o'clock. I pause and ask the pupils as a teacher which one the speaker is talking about. 5 o'clock is clock
This is the correct answer.
letter
Yes,
B.
yes, yes.
So the pupils are going to say it's letter B, clock with letter B. 2, it's 2:15. 2:15 is A. Picture A, picture with letter A. Then 3, it's 11:15. 11:15 is picture C. And number 4, it's 3:30, picture E. Then finally, number 5, it's 8:15, and it is picture with letter D.
Good. Now, thank you very much. Before we move on to ask Ms. Umayma about another exercise, let me ask you both a different question. As you know, some children learned English and they had, before they become grade 4, in the kindergarten, they studied about telling time, maybe.
Yeah.
And some courses are American. They say that. They don't follow the British way in telling the time. For example, it's 5:30, it's 2:15, etc. Now, so they use the digital clocks, let's say that.
Yes.
Okay. What about such students if a student asks the teacher this question? Can I say, teacher, sir, can I say it's 5:30? Now, the teacher, some teachers, believe me, feel confused when some students ask them such questions. What can a teacher do in this case, Miss Umayma, Mr. Majid?
Well, in my opinion, in this case, when the
Yes.
teacher has such a question, he should say yes. Yes,
You can
you
say
can
that.
say that. You can say
It's 5:30,
it's
for example.
5:30, for example, and you can say 5:30.
It's another way of telling the time, but
Yes.
it's American, not British. It's okay, and so on.
Yes,
You can
without
say that.
saying yes, without saying American or British, we just say as teacher. I tell the pupil, yes, you can say this. It's correct. Let's say 5:30. Okay, and it's written. This is my opinion.
Yeah, in my
for answering
opinion,
the-
actually,
Okay.
I have another
Okay.
opinion. As I said before, teachers don't be tempted to teach everything at a level which we may confuse the pupils.
Yes.
It's a good idea to say, yeah, it's correct, but you say, we are going to talk about this later. For now, we're going to learn how to say 2:45, 2:15, and 2:30.
Good.
It's correct, but it's not our lesson now. We're going to explain it later, but now we're going to hit to this.
So
Don't confuse. Maybe
we
one.
don't blame the students, you mean? We don't stop them. It's okay, you're right, but it's not our lesson for today. We can talk about this later on, and that's it.
Yes.
This is what you mean.
Because maybe one of the pupils know this, but if we tell the pupils that we have American way and British way and it is this and that,
They will be
most of the
confused.
people will be confused. Since I know and I believe that now maybe some pupils in grade 4 don't know how to tell the time in their native language.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
they just say the longer hand is on such and the shorter hand is on such, and their family
Yes.
explain to them. So we're not going to
Yes.
confuse them with
Yes.
American and British.
Yes.
Yes, we say, yeah, it's correct, but now we're going to take this. Later, we can deal it when we reach it.
Okay, this is another way of telling the time, but this is not our lesson for today. We can talk about this later. Our lesson for today is
This
to
and this.
do this. A good idea. I agree with Ms. Majid. Thank you, Ms. Umayma.
Thank you.
Can we go on?
Yes,
please?
we are talking about exercises on page 40, pupils book. We have exercise number 3. It's ask and answer. So focus on each of the 4 pictures in turn and ask questions beginning with what time did Samir? Then elicit full sentences, sentence answers in the past tense, beginning with he. We have questions and answers. Pupil practice asking and answering about the questions in pairs. The answers are, for exercise number 3.
Well, actually, Ms. Umayma, in
Yes.
this exercise, in the book, the pupils will see already just the first picture is done. The first picture, Samir is getting up,
yes, yes.
and the 2 pupils are asking, what time did Samir get up? The other pupil is answering, he
He's
got
answering.
up at 6:30 according to the time in
Yes,
the picture.
yes, yes.
But this is the only question and answer about the first picture, and we have other pictures.
Yes.
And we have to ask
So,
about
yeah,
each
we
picture.
are going to make them be able to ask
Yes.
about everything.
That's
you.
Now you can have.
So
Yes,
after
yes.
this, yes, for number 2, 3, and 4, they look, they practice asking and answering
About the
questions.
pictures, yeah.
About
So
the
the teacher can
pictures
say,
themselves.
look at picture number 2.
Yes.
Where is Samir now?
Mm-hmm.
Is he in the house or at school?
Yes.
So
To
we
encourage
can
them speak
yeah,
English.
He can
speak
help. He
English.
can help.
Then
Yes.
we
Then
say,
we ask about what time, ask them, what time did Samir get up? Have them ask these questions and use what time. Let them say, what time did Samir get up? He got up at 6:30. Another pupil answer. Have them work in pair, ask and answer while doing the exercise. Number 2, what time did Samir go to school? He went to school at 8:45.
it's shown in the,
It's shown
in the
in the
picture.
picture
So
itself.
they can answer from the picture itself.
Yes, according to the picture. And according to picture number 3, what time did Samir do his homework? He did his homework at 4:30. We may ask them before practicing.
Yeah, we can say, what time is it in picture number 3?
Yes, what time is it? Or what's he doing? What can you see? Can you describe the picture before speaking about the time and practicing and asking and answering questions about the time or the past using this? Then for picture number 4, have them look at the picture.
Where is Samir?
Where
What is he doing?
What's he doing?
Yes. What's the
describe
time
the
in the
picture.
picture?
What
Yes.
time did Samir
Then
play
ask them
football?
what time did Samir play football. He played football at 6:30.
And
These
we
are the
make the
answers.
pupils read the question and
And
another
answer.
pupil
And
to
work in
answer.
pairs, practice the dialogues. Why not?
To practice, yes,
Yes,
they have
yes.
to.
Thank you.
This is for exercise 3, activity book. Then, after pupil have the activity book,
Yes.
then exercise 3 in the activity book, we have look. The teacher asked the pupil to look, read, and answer. Well, we noticed that here we have Mahir. I'm Mahir. The teacher reads, say, I'm Mahir, this is what I did yesterday.
Good.
Well, and he points to the exercise and have them look at the pictures and read out the sentences in Mahir's speech bubble.
Good.
Okay? Then pupil follow the tangled lines to find out what time Mahir did the different activities. They then answer the questions differently. The pupil themselves, they answer these questions and write out the times in
So it's
words.
a writing exercise.
It's a
here.
writing. So they
Read
look,
and write.
read and answer.
Good, good.
Well, and then they write. The answers are: he got up at 6:15. Number 2, he had breakfast at 7:00. Number 3, he went at 8:30 to a swimming pool. Number 4, yes, he had lunch at 2:00. Number 5, he read a book at 3:00. Number 6, he watched television at 8:00. These
Good.
are the answers for exercise number 3. For exercise number 4, as shown in the book on page 40 in activity book, read and write. Now the teacher reads and have them read what time, what. These are the question words. The question words, they should read them first before reading the sentences and before putting the correct question word in its place, the correct
Good,
place.
good, good.
Pupils must choose the correct question words for each sentence.
Good.
Point out that some of the choices in the books are used twice.
Good.
Teacher should know
Now,
this.
now he can tell now the teacher can tell the pupils that we use what to ask about things.
Yes.
We use
Where
what time
we
to ask about
ask about place.
place.
Yes.
And
What time to
what
ask about time.
yeah. And they are going now to put the exact or the correct
The
question
correct
word
questions.
in the suitable place according to the question.
Yes,
Thank
and the answers, as we know all, number one, they have to, it's done, it's already done.
Where, yes.
Number two, what time. Number three, what. And number four, where.
Where.
They write, and they read the sentences.
Very nice.
We have them repeat. If one student or one pupil read, then we have another one reads the same
you.
sentence to have them read it.
Thank
okay?
you very much, Ms. Umayma.
Thank you.
Mr. Majid, now we have lesson 3, please.
Yeah, please.
And you should know that we have only 5 minutes. So
Really?
we have to mention,
Yeah, okay.
let's say
Yes.
the main points about
As
lesson
quickly
3.
as
What
possible.
about the aims, the topic,
Aims.
structures, everything?
Students are going to be able to practice asking questions in the past simple tense. Like what? Like, what did you do in the morning? Now here in page 41, we have pictures in the morning and a picture in the afternoon, and we can see the picture maybe at night. Now we are going to talk about morning and in the afternoon. So students are going to be able to ask questions about something happened in the morning, something happened in the afternoon, what did you do in the morning, and the second objective is to revise telling the time. I went to bed at 9 o'clock, I went to bed at 8:30, and so on. And they are going to have kind of project to complete a class survey in this level. The structures of this lesson, lesson 3, questions in the past simple tense, what did you do, what time did you get up yesterday, what did you do in the morning, functions, asking and answering questions, telling the time, talking about the past. Of course, the topic of the lesson is the past times. What resources are we going to use? Of course, when we plan, we always put the objective, the presentation, and the resources we're going to use. The resources we're going to use for this lesson is the Pupils Book, page 41, exercise 4, ask and answer. Pupils Book, page 41, exercise 5, project, do a survey. Activity Book, page 41, exercise 5, read and write. And also Activity Book, page 41, exercise 6, project, do a survey.
Good.
Actually, maybe students are not going to be able to know the meaning of survey, but we can, as teachers, explain that we are going to ask all the pupils one question to find out how many pupils get
Yes,
up at
yes,
7
yes,
o'clock, for
yes,
example.
yes.
So this is called survey.
Sure.
When I ask all the pupils,
Certainly.
I make them understand the meaning. And if I don't need, I don't mention the word survey at all, but I make them practice the survey by asking
Good.
questions in the simple
So,
past
Mr.
tense.
Majid, as we can say, lesson 3, it's a revision for both lesson 1 and lesson
Yes,
2. The
yes.
same skills.
Yes.
Miss Umayma, now
Yes.
we can talk about revision, please.
Yes, to speak about revision, we speak about the exercises themselves,
Yes,
that
yes.
the pupils should focus on the photographs
Yes.
on page 41 in the pupil's book. And then the teacher asks pupil what they can see. Have them have a look at your book. And what can you see? The pupil should answer about these things in the exercises. They are exercises related to the lesson itself. And ask about the boy in the picture. What did he do in the morning? Pupil makes sentences about the photographs beginning with he. So the teacher asked them first to describe the pictures, then ask about the boy. What did he do? Then ask what did he do in the afternoon. So what did he do in the morning? What did he do in the afternoon? And elicit answers from different pupils. Then they continue their
In pairs.
job in pairs. That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
This is for exercise.
And of course, here the teacher can collect
the answers. Yes.
For correction, of course.
Yes, when they
Yes.
write,
Yes,
that's it.
yes.
And for exercise 5, as my colleagues say, you spoke about survey, and have people have to write questions in the past simple that will produce the replies shown, according to the exercise. They'll tell them that they don't need to have yesterday in their questions. People complete the exercise in writing, then the teacher collects
Yes.
everything and correct if he needs to correct them.
Thank you. Mr. Majid, can we continue?
Yeah, okay. So the teacher himself can do the
Only 1 minute, please. Yes.
can do the exercise orally first.
Yes.
And then the pupils can move around. Every pupil can move around the class and ask questions like, what time did you get up yesterday? Second question is, what time did you have breakfast? So this survey is going to be done by every pupil to ask the others, or we can just ask 2 or 3 pupils to do it. Then in the end, we show them that maybe 20 pupils got up at 7 o'clock, 15 pupils got up at 8.
Yes.
And we teach them to do this survey so that they practice asking the questions and the other pupils practice answering the questions. Then we tell them that this is called survey, and in the end,
And of course, the teacher insists or should insist on full
Sentence answers, of course.
to make sure that the students can or use correctly the new structures of the 3 lessons.
questions
Yes.
and answers.
Yes, of course. Well, before I thank you for your participation, let me remind my dear colleagues, English teachers in the field, that in each lesson they have to make sure that their students practice the 4 skills together. We should not forget the integrated skills, listening, reading, speaking, and writing.
Yes.
Am I right? At the end of this seminar, let me thank my dear colleagues, the English team for teachers training. Miss Umayma Sherba, an English supervisor from Tartus, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
participation. Mr. Abdelmajid Orli, thank you very much, an English supervisor from Damascus countryside.
Thank you. Thank you
Dear
very
colleagues,
much.
we hope that we present today something useful to you to be used in your classrooms, new strategies. I'd like to remind you that when we talk about assessment, because evaluation is very necessary, my colleagues in the Ministry of Education in our next seminars, next Monday, will talk about assessment and they will give you some samples and how to assess in different stages. At the end, we hope that we give you everything useful for today. Thank you. Till we meet in other seminars, we wish you all the best. Goodbye.